We can go through them and have fun with them, but it's about halfway through, just click through. I only have 3 slides, so we're going to go through because we're going to tackle that first myth right away. Tackle the first myth, display monetary policy, since Brad had it, and I'm the opposite of Brad. He was a hippie.
Can everyone hear Mark in the
Can you hear
back?
me?
Yeah.
He was.
You might want to move up into the middle.
Yeah, I will once we get the questions going. Okay. He was when he was doing. I missed all that hippie stuff. I was in the Army, unfortunately. He had all the good times. So I'm going to read the first myth. The national debt is killing our economy. It's a myth. Truth. There's no such thing as the national debt. So when you talk to Republicans and you talk to other people, that's the first thing you do, which is there's no such thing as the national debt. It's a national monetarization account. The debt is something that has to be paid back. We have not paid it back. We have not paid it off since 1835. Who was president then? Anybody know? Real quick. Andrew Jackson. Therefore, the national debt is not on the backs of our children and grandchildren. Okay? That's a very important one. So, what is monetary policy? We'll spend a few minutes. There it is, right there. Everybody understand it? You got it? It's the creation and fusion of new money or currency, whatever you want to call it. Now it's all digital. It's in your checkbook. Into the economy. Who puts it out? Anybody know? Somebody that attend my lectures, you can't put it out. Who puts out the new money? Who's the big people that put it out?
Federal Reserve?
No, close. Wells Fargo Bank, Bank of America, Citibank. They're the people that make the money. And what the problem is right now with the economy is they're not making the money. We have no money. When money flows, we grow. When it stops, we flop. So that's key. You can go on. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 5 gives the right to Congress to create their own currency, their own coin, their own money. Not the Federal Reserve, not the banks. So all the banks create this money through debt. So it's really debt money. Okay? Now, if you want to really learn it, go read the monetary section of our website. I expect you all to read this website. I wanted you all to read it before you came, but when you go home, I want you to read it. It doesn't take that long. And what they do to make the explanation really simple is that when you put $1,000 into Wells Fargo Bank, they can loan out $10,000. Everybody got that? The $9,000 that they loan out is new money. Everybody got that? Okay? That's how they create the money. All right? Now, the second way, which is a minor way, unless we have a severe recession, it becomes a little bit more major, is the federal government issues their treasury bills, and the Federal Reserve buys them with new money. And it's the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the one Geithner that was head of. That's the other way that you create money. So it's not a debt, because we'll never have enough taxes or cut spending to pay off $14 trillion. We actually go along, we print it going along. Everybody have any questions? Let's go to the next slide. I only got 3 slides for that. The cost of creating a dollar is 0. It didn't cost anything to create it. It's all digital now. You know, I mean, the cost of printing the currency printing by the Treasury, it's a very small portion of money in circulation. So the only cost is if we print too much. If we create too much, we have excess or hyperinflation. And if we create too little, what happens?
Deflation.
Deflation. What happens during deflation? Recession and depression. So what would you rather have, a little of inflation or a little depression? Well, I'd rather have a little inflation. It's the inability for mankind, we're not perfect, to put out money. Okay? And there's 24 reasons for monetary reform on the thing, on our website. I'm not going to go through the 24. Actually, there's only 23 on the website. I can put 24 on you. I always find a new one when I'm reading and researching. So, so the solution is very simple. Instead of having one bank put it all out, we have 10 or 15. And we put it out for various reasons. And I'm going to give you some examples, and then I'm going to go into questions. And we could talk about some of these other myths, things, anything you want to talk about. Here's a couple of my favorites. Environmental. We have a energy crisis. You know, when I fly in, my kids live in Eugene, Oregon. When you fly into Portland, you have a great number of industrial buildings that have solar panels on top of them. Everybody fly into Portland, take a look as you're landing. Have anybody noticed any on our big industrial buildings or even anywhere when you're landing in LAX? Zero. Portland doesn't have any sun. We got it all. So it obviously doesn't make any sense. So my main thing is when you create an environmental bank, okay, because the debt service is so expensive, okay, and you create a 30-year loan with a 1% interest or a 2% interest, where the payment to pay back the loan is less than the savings on substantially less than the savings on your power bill. Businesses, those industrial buildings, will rush to get a 100% finance loan to build those solar panels and put them on their industrial roofs.
I have one question there.
Yeah.
I work for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power.
Yes.
They gave that to you. Nobody took it.
No, they didn't give it.
They didn't?
No.
What happened?
No. They didn't. They give tax credits, but they don't give 100% loan to industrial buildings.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Or the big flat warehouses that are in the sun all day. Because you did, those business owners would all buy it because it doesn't make any economic sense not to. And the reason is they don't have access to a 1% 30-year loan. Well, why don't they have an access? Because the banks have to have their money. They have to have their interest. They have to charge 5%, 6%. Why? Because the cost of making money is really zero. Why do they have to have any interest? So what happens in this debt society, then I'm going to open up the questions or we'll go through the myths. If you want to go over any of this myths. What happens is if you look at the overall economy, the banks put out money in the Treasury only by issuing debt. So we have all this debt money created, okay, but it's attached to it is an interest rate, whatever it is, 5%, 1%, whatever that interest rate is. The system doesn't put out money to pay the interest. Interesting, huh? So the total money supply, okay, is X, but we need X plus interest to pay it back. So how do we attain this interest when it's not out there? Well, we fight one another for it, or we go bankrupt. So the system has a tremendous error to it. And when you read it all, this is the reason we're in it. I figured it out about 20 some odd years ago when these great industrial systems like Japan started failing. And I said, how are they failing? Well, it's the monetary system that brought it down. It's the creation of money. All right. We can go over those myths. We can ask questions.